told Mrs. Pine you'll walk Violet to school today. Thought it would be nice for you both to have a companion.
What a spin on a dystopian sort of world, and especially in our olden world where masks are becoming more and more prevalent. I think this one does something really clever and makes you ask a lot of questions of it, and it doesn't give you much in the way of answers. But you do get the sense that there's something greater going on in this world, and I loved all the little pokes there with the Moscow Mule and 10 Ways to Eat Avocado and Vague magazine. I love stuff like that, just little touches. I noticed it. It's great. I like it. Yeah, so aside from that stuff, the ability to portray any amount of emotion or anything with these big masks on, I thought would be next to impossible, but this would definitely prove that theory wrong, because you do get a sense sometimes just from the camera angle, or maybe just a slight the score, whatever it is, you definitely get to follow along with whatever the person under that mask is thinking, even if they're not saying anything, which I think speaks to the ability of the director and everyone else involved in this production. So all that being said, definitely worth checking out.
The story was really fascinating to me, and I loved how, in a world that it was required of everyone to wear masks and hide their identity, and it just wasn't allowed to be talked about, especially in public, it built a friendship between two young girls, and they discovered their true identity, which was really cute and adorable.
Interesting premise of why people potentially wear masks and how society makes us conform to certain ideals, and whether that's voluntary or involuntary. The film kind of plays with that, in that our natural instincts are to really try to connect, and we're not able to when we're wearing that mask. So, yeah, I thought it made me think, and it was a really well told story.
I thought this was such an interesting film. I think for me personally, it really spoke to identity and how, like, because all of these people hadn't even seen themselves, and they hadn't seen their families or their friends or anything else, like not their like face behind the mask or anything like that. And even if you were paying attention, like they all wear gloves, they all wear clothes that fully cover them up, like absolutely no part of them, who they are, is showing. I definitely took it as like how powerful your own self-identity is, and how kind of isolating it can be when you don't really have that or don't really know that for yourself, and how you relate to people definitely changes. Because if you don't know yourself, or you don't have a good sense of self-identity, then I don't know how much you can really relate to or connect with other people. I thought it was a really interesting film. I would have liked to know more about kind of the background, or I don't even know. I thought it was such an interesting concept. It definitely had me intrigued.
Some of the interesting things I really liked from a creative standpoint, from the observations that I made, were I liked how Ronnie was drawing Violet. So he didn't know what she looked like, but he, based on his drawing, it was obvious he envisioned her as having like three eyes, almost looking like a monster in a way. Not sure why, but that's how he envisioned her. I also thought it was very interesting that that Ronnie's mother, she didn't have a mirror in her bathroom, but Ronnie did have a mirror, and so it was almost like, did she not have a mirror because she was blind? Was her character uh, fully conditioned to the fact that you should be blind to other people in society, and then Ronnie was getting to that realization, or trying to develop that, while at the same time struggling with wanting to know and ask questions like, why are we wearing these heads? They're really stupid. Again, I thought that was really cool. Very interesting story to me. Very interesting, and you kind of wondered. It made me wonder what the message was all about throughout. So it really, really captured my attention, and I really enjoyed it.
I was very surprised that with very little widgets and gimmicks and special effects, just with masks, you can create such a powerful message about hiding, about equalizing everybody, erasing their personalities, and the idea of taking the mask off to share what you really, really are. It's amazing, very surprising with considering this a sci-fi movie, but I loved it.
It's such a visually striking film. Like it's pretty quirky. It's kind of like a Wes Anderson thing a little bit. I know that he kind of becomes the ultimate example when you're showing like POV shots of like somebody cooking eggs, or like those static wides where somebody just walks across the entire frame, and also the almost like they're not paper mache, but whatever the masks are made of, like they're so striking as well. And then also in the forest at the end, and like the kind of the lifting drone shot, like it was a very visually striking film that was awesome, and it grabs your attention, and it's simple, and it's it's clear, and I think that it's effective in evoking a lot of, like, you kind of want to be in that world, like a little bit, even though it's not ideal. But either way, yeah, great job.